Welcome to another episode of Cooking with Fine Boy Cuisine. Today we're going to be making jerk lobster and jerk butter bread, just how you would make garlic bread.
Alrighty, thanks for joining us again, folks. Today we have a doozy. Sure you're going to enjoy this? Know you're going to want to try it at home. Why don't you get started with the butter?
Okay, so we're using 1 stick of butter, half a lime, and we're only using the juice, by the way. We're going to use a tablespoon of parsley, a couple pinches of salt, and a teaspoon of our jerk seasoning. So I'm going to start with the jerk seasoning. Get as much out of there as possible. Then we're going to move on to our juice. And then our parsley. We're not using all of this, so we're using about half of this in here. Okay, that should be enough. And then we're going to use 2 pinches of salt. And now here's the fun part where we get to mix it up.
All right, while she's mixing that, get that going, I'm going to be taking care of our lobster here. Today we're going to be doing Maine Lobster. And you want to make sure it's alive when you get it. And you want to kill it by using a sharp knife, going right down the center of the head, and cutting clean through.
And remember, if your lobster continues to move even after you killed it, it's perfectly normal. And it should only do that for a couple minutes and you'll be fine. Also remember, do not, I repeat, do not cut off the rubber bands until the lobster is dead. Okay,
so we have it open here, and what we're going to do is start by declawing it. So I want to take off that first notch there. And then once you get that part, I'm going to use the back of my knife and then just put a little chop in the center there. That way, when we cook, that meat on the inside will be cooked as quickly as the rest of it, and you'll get that nice meaty flavor out of there.
Alright, so first things first. When you're making your lobster, how big would you prefer it to be?
How big? Mm-hmm. Well, normally you get them they're about 1.25 pound size. And, you want to make sure that when you clean it, you want to take out all of the stuff on the inside. Here's the stomach and the intestine. We get that out. Just put us on. Right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, part of the stomach. Yeah.
And remember, you don't have to eat the stomach.
Right. And then also behind here, we want to get out the gills. This is where they filter a lot of the food that they eat, and they breathe through there. So once you get that out, you get out most of it, as much of it as possible. Okay. And then once we get out all of that,
you should be pretty good to go, right?
Yeah.
And then we're going to chop it up into tinier pieces in this and put it in that bowl.
So, So once we have that, we're going to cut that. Be careful. Now, if this was a female lobster, you can tell by these 2 little feelers back here. Mm-hmm. This is where they hold their eggs when they are, once they lay their eggs. And do you know how long it takes for a lobster to grow? To get to a year?
Not even sure.
All right, so it takes them about 12 years to actually age to get to a pound. So a lot of times you see guys come upon lobsters that are giant lobsters. They've been in the ocean for quite a while.
So how long can lobsters live?
They can live for many years. They found some, they average about 25, 30 years. And so there we have our lobster cut up. And it makes quite a mess, but we'll get rid of this juice. Now we're going to look at Lizzie doing our bread.
So I have our bread here. So what I'm going to do is try to move this loaf out of the way. Okay, that should be good. And now I'm going to take our jerk butter that we mixed up, and I'm just going to put it on one side first. Get that nice. Then we're going to do the other one. And grab some more if you need it. And then we're going to flip them over because we want both sides seasoned. You don't have to do both, but we're going to be doing both today, so it's your choice. Okay. Let's get this going. And then after this, oop, that's done. Okay. So then after this, we're going to put them in the oven. And we're ready to go. Now, back over here where we have our flame, and we're about to start cooking them.
All right, you folks. So here's where the magic begins. Can you take this out of here, baby? All right. So we want to make sure our pan is hot. Here we have 2 lobsters that we did cut up, and our pan is hot. So you're going to be sauteing it, which is going to be fairly quick. So we get them in there, and let this bad boy.
Antennas and all.
Antennas and all. Let it drop in. Then we're going to add a little bit of salt.
So with the rest of this jerk butter, are we going to be adding it on afterwards or during this time?
We're going to be adding it during the cooking process.
Okay.
But what we want to do is get our pan going for a while there and let the meat start to cook, the shells and all. So we get the nice.
You can see it's still moving around.
Yeah. It looked like I didn't cut this one. But anyway. So.
Hey, you have a longer piece.
Right. Make sure you're important. You want to cook it on high heat because what's going to happen is that once the butter hits it, or the natural juices from the lobster is going to be in there, and that's going to create your sauce. When you add your butter, we're going to finish with some wine and all.
White wine, by the way.
White wine. That's very important because you don't want a sweet wine either. You're going to use the wine on the butter to build the base of your sauce. Okay? Questions?
Well, my first question is, how long are you going to be cooking this for?
Until it's done.
And that typically ranges from
It takes
5 minutes?
No, sometimes it takes about 7 minutes to do.
Okay.
You know,
So
depending on the
too
weight.
long.
No, it's not. It's not. But you can also get the aroma and that smell coming through from it. Okay?
And we're going to cover it up now?
Not at this point. You're going to turn it around a little bit. Yeah. All right. So come on over here, videographer, and see what's going on. We're getting that. As it starts to cook, the color starts to change and that redness starts to come out. Okay? All right. When we cover that bad boy a little bit and let it go. Get in there. While that's going, we can talk about it. Now, this lobster, as I said, came from Maine. There are many different lobsters out there. Lobsters typically like cold waters. Okay? Cold waters range from anywhere between 50 degrees and lower. Okay? Yeah. But even in the Caribbean, you know, the waters are about 60 degrees and under. During the summer, that's how hot it can get. But when you get into that 60-degree water, it doesn't feel like that. All right? In the Caribbean, you have spiny lobsters. In England, they have a different type of lobster. The French call it homard or langoustine, depending on the size of it. Yeah. So, for our garlic butter, as you see here, we can use it for a number of things, like...
I mean, I guess an extra seasoner.
Yep. You can use it to add to sauces.
Picking them up?
Yep.
Like we're doing today.
Right. And like I had said earlier, I think I said garlic, but it's actually jerk butter made similar to what they call maitre d' butter. So they have different type of butters that are made in the kitchen, but most popular is garlic butter. All right. You can use this on shrimp. You can use it
on all sorts of seafood too.
Yeah, with scallops. Yeah, it gives it a nice flavor, a nice zing. Okay, I added some salt on there before, and yeah, you see how that's doing?
Oh, it's all red now.
Yeah, it's getting there. Yeah. So we want to make sure in turning that it springs its own juice, and that juice is what's gonna give you that.
That's all the white stuff, right?
Yeah, that's protein. That's a natural protein from the lobster, the crustacean itself. That's
and
another
you can see all
thing.
the cracks we made, so when we eat it, it'll be easier to rip.
Right. Okay. So we'll let that go a little bit more.
And now we can talk about our bread.
Yeah.
So earlier, I'm gonna grab the pieces.
Right.
Earlier we made our bread.
You bring the whole thing over.
Oh, okay.
Come on.
Anyways, yeah.
We can start setting up our plate while that's going.
Yes. Yeah. And then, anyways, yeah. So we put on these as well. We both put the jerk batter on both sides, so you get that nice crust. It makes it flaky as well. And so, what type of bread do we use today?
We used French bread, French baguette, locally made. You can use any other type of bread you want. You can use like a Spanish bolillo bread. We painted or brushed on both sides of it, so you get that nice crunch to it. Okay? We're not going to eat it right now, of course. She always wants to eat. All right, so we're going to put some there and set that up. I think I can add my butter now because I'm smelling this bad boy doing its thing. I got it.
Smaller version.
Yeah.
Something they need to work on.
Right.
And we're just gonna scoop it in there.
Yeah, we just put a nice
Chunk.
of butter in there, and don't worry about it. Let that bad boy go.
And I just
And
simmer
you
down.
see, I don't know, can the camera pick up the liquid that is in there? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So what we're doing now is flavoring our seafood with this.
Gives it a nice creamy taste.
Yep. And then we're gonna add
Our wine.
Vino.
So about how much are we adding?
We have 2 lobsters here. We're losing about 4 to 6 ounces of wine on that. We're gonna let that go.
Okay. You can smell it.
Yeah, it smells good, right? Incidentally, you can thicken it if you want, or you can just go straight a la minute. If you don't want to saute this, another way you can do is you chop up your lobster, put it in a casserole in the oven at about 375, and put your butter right on top of it, and just sprinkle it with a little wine, cover it, and let it go and do its thing.
Just remember, cut up the lobster.
Right.
So I don't know about you. I don't want to be sitting there all day after it's done.
Right. So at this point, our flavors are coming together. You can put that back, baby. And we can take this out of here. Oh, yeah. Look at that bad boy. And it's actually done here. We're going to start by, we're going to take out our lobster and see if we can do our setup.
Okay. I got it. Forks.
Right. Oops.
Okay.
We're gonna dry our juice. We're gonna cook it a little bit more, reduce the liquid, and get it down to all set. That way we can throw it over it. I added salt already.
Just remember not too much salt.
No, you don't need a lot. The seafood, the fresh flavor of this.
Yeah.
The good thing about this dish is that even with the lobster, because it has that ocean fresh taste to it, you won't need that to add much salt. Yeah, yeah. So our liquid is drying down a little bit.
Got that claw.
Yeah. Let's put this bad boy up like that. And our liquid is drying down. I'm just gonna throw a little bit over our stuff. And then we're ready to eat.
Yeah.
All right. You wanna wait so we can try it together? All right, so first thing we're gonna do is get some of the meat out of the shell. Can I help you with that?
Sure.
Yeah. So you reach in and just take that out. Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
And then let me grab from this tail. Guess who eating good tonight? So you dip it in the sauce a little bit.
Okay.
And for the camera now. Come on, Jack.
That's good.
Yeah, the taste of the wine and the jerk flavor coming through. It's not overpowering. You're not getting it too spicy. You can add as much butter as you want. For our purposes, we only used 1 teaspoon to a stick of butter. Trust me, you can go more than that. Okay? If you really want to kick up that flavor.
I'm going to taste some butter.
Oh, okay. She's going to taste the bread. With
So
the
crunchy and good.
Yeah, I like my bread, even though the bread is crusty here, I like it to soak up some of the juice, so I got some on the end here. Let me see.
Yeah, it's good.
We eating good tonight. Thank you, Island Boy. Thank you, viewers. Remember, like, share, subscribe.
And follow.
All right.
Bye.